Apple for years has been the market leader of the mobile industry. When Apple launches something new, the entire industry follows. This happened to a large extent for the fingerprint sensors, to a relatively smaller extent for the removed headphone jack. So this begs the question, are the other smartphone companies gonna launch their own Face ID this time? Why can Apple do what other companies can't? This is what I want to talk about today. I'm Lei. Let's just jump into it. First of all, to be fair to Samsung, Apple is not the first one who came up with the idea of scanning your face with the infrared cameras. Samsung did it last year with the iris scanner in Note 7. However, admittedly, Apple is much more committed this time than Samsung did a year ago. Not only does iPhone X refuses to provide any other security options together with the Face ID, Apple is so confident with its technology that it's willing to enable Apple Pay with it. This is a big commitment. But in order to understand why Apple is the only company that can make this happen, we need to dive deeper into what makes Apple, Apple. First of all, Apple is a very well-oiled machine. If you don't want to take my word for it, here is the proof. Gartner has named Apple the best supply chain company in the world for past 10 years in a row and promoted it to the most prestigious master category in the last 3 years, placing Apple right there with Amazon and P&G. Considering the sophisticated supply network of these two companies, Apple is doing pretty well itself. This is the first aspect of Apple that makes it special. Although I explained this in only a few sentences, Apple's supply chain is a very complex system that links everything together. Here is a picture to show you the whole system. Apple takes control all the way from sourcing its suppliers to recycling its used products. But you might want to ask me, isn't Apple famous for outsourcing its production to China? How is it good at manufacturing then? This is also what baffled me for a long time. But finally, I found some clue in Apple's annual report. Listen to this. In the capital assets section, it says, the company anticipates utilizing approximately $16 billion for capital expenditure during 2017, which includes product tooling and manufacturing process equipment. And there you go. Apple's capability to develop its own product tooling and manufacturing process equipment has been one of Apple's greatest strengths in the past decades because this makes sure two critical points. The first one is to ensure Apple's continued supply even during the peak Christmas season. The other one is to make specialized proprietary components like the A11 Bionic chip, which includes CPU, GPU, and the neural engine. They're all designed by Apple itself. Apple's willingness to go deep into its supply chain and manufacturing gives it a unique advantage in making great phones. Coupled with its control of the sales channel, Apple has acquired huge influence over its entire hardware vertical. But the question still remains, no matter how good Apple is at manufacturing smartphones, it can't be better than Samsung, right? Yeah, I do agree with that. But let's not forget Apple's holistic prowess in its software services. This is the territory where Samsung has no influence in. In 2016, Apple's revenue from services alone amounted to $24 billion. This includes earnings from the App Store, iTunes, Apple Music, and so on. To put things into more perspective, this is comparable to the entire revenue of Facebook in 2016, which is $27 billion. Although this is still far from the $136 billion Apple made with the iPhone, it has created huge influence over people's purchasing decisions. Because Apple has vertically integrated its software from its coding language to the operating system to the App Store, many people buy Apple product simply because he or she owns another Apple product. This is a very powerful factor, because it makes Apple's tightly controlled software and hardware ecosystem a virtuous cycle, where its high-quality hardware drives software adoption, and software adoption incentivizes its hardware usage. Therefore, if we go back to examine closely the competition among Apple, Samsung, and Google in all of their competitive categories, this is what we'll find. In the hardware vertical, Apple tightly controls its manufacturing, makes great products, and has retail stores in shopping malls of all big cities. Whereas Samsung has similar influence over its hardware vertical with especially strong influence on component supply and manufacturing. However, its influence literally ends here. While Samsung has tried over the years to enter the software market with Bixby, Tizen operating system, and the Galaxy apps, never once did those things work out. For Apple, it extends greater control over the software vertical with ARKit, Core ML, Siri, iOS, the App Store, and other in-house apps like Safari. The opposite happened to Google. While it exemplifies great software strength with AR Core, TensorFlow, Google Assistant, Android, Google Play, and other Google productivity apps, its hardware has yet to break into the mass market. Changing manufacturing partners from Samsung to LG to Huawei and then to HTC is definitely not a strong move. Samsung and Google has great influence in their respective verticals, but neither has managed to conquer the complementary software or hardware market. This is why I stated at the beginning of the video, Apple is the only company that can make this happen. This became exceptionally clear to me when I was watching the announcement of iPhone X. The engineering marvel of iPhone X crosses multiple verticals. It combines Apple's design and engineering capability with its manufacturing execution. It started with Johnny Ive deciding to put Face ID's components on the top of the screen, and ended with Apple's engineering team developing the entire A11 chip with neural engine and deep learning capabilities. To strengthen Apple's commitment, ARKit is also developed to help Apple's developers make AR applications easier. From the demos, we're already seeing AR applications in 3D games as well as social emojis. So if you ask me what do I think of the iPhone X, I think it's going to be okay. Not because Apple is the first one making the edge-to-edge display, or it invented the Face ID, or its processors are better benchmarks in the market, but because the fact that these features are not castles in the air. They're supported by concrete software frameworks as well as hardware capabilities. And for that, I'll give it a shot. Well, thank you guys for watching. Some of you asked me about this last week, so this is what I think. Definitely let me know what do you think of the new iPhone X and its Face ID. I'm not yet convinced of its capabilities and its use cases. However, as I said, I'm gonna give it a shot. Most importantly, what are your thoughts on vertical integration? I mentioned it once in my Tesla video and again in today's video. It seems modern companies that care about the quality of their products are convinced of vertical integration. If you're new to this channel and you love this video, definitely subscribe. I make videos like this once a week. Alright, I'm Lei. See you in the next one. Peace.